So if you leave religion, what are you left with? You're left with either the best thing in the world or the worst thing in the world, or perhaps nothing at all. Today, we're going to continue our discussion about the fact that I think Alex and I both believe that it's a little of bad, a little of good, but basically nothing at all. So this is Eric Slawick, the Pen Guy.
This is Alex Burks.
This is the Pen Guy Podcasting. So I have two. This is immediately following up on our previous episode. So if people are looking for the context of this, watch the previous installation in this series on Life in the Void. I have two thoughts about your impression of the 90s style optimistic atheism. One is as you were describing in flowery language, or kind of satirical language, let's say, to a degree, what that was, you weren't wrong. I was a little bothered in a sense that I described at the end of the last episode, but honestly, and I mean this as nothing of offense at all to any atheist out there who might still be in this contact Carl Sagan position, I'm mostly speaking of myself here, because my atheism was so emotionally driven and experiential. When you talked about it, it reminded me of Mormonism. And we can perhaps do a whole thing on Mormonism in the future at some point. But needless to say, if anyone has had experience with Mormon missionaries or the Book of Mormon or Mormons debating, it's only a matter of time before they fall back into emotion and subjectivity. And I know for a fact that is based in their primary texts. Mm-hmm. It's a different way of approaching truth. But it's, in that sense, you're left with the same issue that when you have no consistent foundation to stand on, all you can really do is tell yourself stories. And all you can do is try to convince yourself that even though you're so obviously looking into an emptiness of nothingness, maybe somehow we can, I don't know, live as if though it wasn't an emptiness of nothingness. This actually reminds me, and I'm only bringing this up because it's so relevant. 5 or 6 years ago, you mentioned Jordan Peterson. I remember Jordan Peterson, who is legendarily, notoriously difficult to pin down on the subject of religion. Everyone from progressive atheists to conservative, like politically conservative evangelicals, have all agreed on this. You cannot get the man to plant his flag anywhere for anything, and many a man has tried. Mm-hmm. But one thing he said that was particularly mind-bending, when he was less floating towards Christianity than he is today, was, I don't know whether God exists, but I live as if though he did. Now, it's one of those few statements that ages very poorly. Like, I have the same sort of confused expression on my face when I hear that I did when I first heard it 5 or 6 years ago. What does that mean? And I don't want to make this a discussion of Jordan Peterson, but I think you were there in a weird way, because you said you were running away from hell, but technically you didn't believe hell existed. So you were like the opposite of Jordan Peterson. You didn't officially believe hell existed, but you kind of lived like it did.
No, I think I want it to be free. And this is the common Christian accusation of atheists. And in my case, it was true. I want it to be, in some senses, free of all external moral impositions upon my person and my behavior. Because that feels great. It's great not to worry about, especially if it's not true. That's my point. If it's not true, then why do I care if people do whatever they want? You know what I mean? Because most people, when religion falls in a culture, it's not like people all of a sudden become like futuristic philosophers. No, they become hedonists, like I was talking about previously. Um, they become hedonists to a greater or a lesser degree, right? And so they're hedonists, but they don't want to hurt people, generally speaking. And so that was what was appealing to me, where it's like, well, if this isn't true, I don't want just I don't want to be told what to do because some person in a cave made it up and scribbled it on a tablet or something 2,000 years ago. I would like to live how I want to live because obviously I know what's best for my own life. And I think that is where a lot of people are, especially if they're not pursuing some sort of virtue. But or most people, I found this, and you found this in Gen Z too. A lot of people, when they leave religion, it's not like they become rationalists; they become crystal people. You know what I'm saying? Where it's like, well, religion's stupid, but I got to check my horoscopes. And you can't tell these people it's not true because they're just like, oh, I don't know. I like my horoscopes. I do my star sign. And it's just, but when you're an atheist, you can just look at those people like they're stupid. But I mean, are they really doing anything crazier than you're doing by getting up in the morning and continuing to live life? I mean, life is essentially meaningless. So could we all just agree to let stupid people be stupid? Or why is it better or worse to do anything really? Why should I be an atheist? Because it's more aligned with truth. What if I don't care? And am I free to not care? Of course I am, because none of it matters. It does, you know what I'm saying? It's like, why are you mad at me for being a Christian? It doesn't matter. None of it matters. We're all going to die. You could die right now and you'd go into the void, and it wouldn't matter if I'm a Christian because you'd be gone, and I could die 5 minutes later. It wouldn't matter. And the heat, death of the universe is going to swallow us up anyway. So we're all kind of rearranging deck chairs in Titanic. Does that make sense?